You are listening to the WADT podcast. This episode is part 3 of a 4-part series called Transform. For this series, we are collaborating with the Thai Hua Kwan Moral Charities, who is a non-profit organization that provides assistance to the elderly, the sick, families, children, and persons with disabilities through many different programs and services. And one of which is the Brotherhood Program, where men who have caused hurt to their loved ones are helped to resolve their issues with anger and aggression. Throughout this series, you will hear very real and personal stories of adversity, courage, and victory told by those who lived these experiences. And today, with us is Rosman and Jatin, who have willingly and courageously come forward to share their stories. So welcome to both of you, Jatin and Rosman. So beginning with you, Rosman, can you share with us what brought you to the Brotherhood Program? You know, Brotherhood Program is where men who have caused hurt to other people, their loved ones and others, is being helped with their anger and aggression issues.
I was introduced by one of the case worker from my Thai Hua Kwan at Boon Lay. I think maybe it's in the works lah. Maybe what is meant to be is meant to be. So this is my third case worker, whereby she's I believe so lah. She I think she go a long way lah to help me in my problems with my family. So she introduced me to the Brotherhood Program. So this because I did some things at home where I was put under a Child Protective Order, CPO. It's a violence that I did at home, breaking things and stuff, where my children and my wife feel threatened. And then once I joined, I couldn't help. I realized there are some other men like me who face so much problems at home, trying to understand yourself and trying to understand your partner and your role as a father, as a husband, and somebody important that you must have something to look forward in life Sometimes you never realize that what you said might have hurt somebody so deep, which you realize in the end, oh, I shouldn't have said that. What I did was I just go snap. The wire just snapped, so I break all these gaming things, and then I started smashing things. I think this is one of the episodes. Previously, I did it before, so I got away with it. So and then the next thing I know is the policeman came by and then bring me to the Institute of Mental Health, whereby I seriously there and then I realized that I really need help to express. I cannot really express myself, so that's the way I try to prove things. Try to make a point. I think that's not the right way to do it. So something's emotional, though it's not physical thing, but you've hurt them emotionally, whereby a story does not really enough to cover that part.
That's right. Yeah. So, sorry, sometimes it's just not enough. You can say it 1,000 times, but the wound and especially the memory doesn't go away. Yeah. I guess I think I can understand, because I help parents. I talk about parenting and teach parents how to raise their children and things like that. I can I myself, I've gone through it 3 times. I have 3 kids, and I can totally understand when you try to tell your kids to stop doing something, but they keep doing it and again, and as if they have not listened to you at all. How your temperature can rise and things like that. Yeah, but I think for some people they are able to control their temper, but for some, it just gets out of control very quickly. So looking back, do you can you see where this anger came from, or was it something that kind of happened later on when you became a father, especially?
Okay. Firstly, I realized that respect is much more is losing in terms of family. you as if you never exist. Appreciation is doesn't really show in my life. No, everybody is struggling doing their own things, and then you and your partner, and then we have some differences, and then it gets to a point whereby you cannot really make a point. That's whereby when you said something like you said, children, you cannot really control them. With ask them to stop, they wouldn't stop, right? So it gets whereby um, you feel you need to do something lah, to get attention. Um, because previously I did try to harm myself. You know, I was alcoholic. I was into substance abuse. Yes, that was a serious things lah. So whereby you impair your judgment and how you think.
Yeah, okay. Hi guys, I'm Jatin and I'm 37 this year. So I have two daughters and I was happily married previously, currently divorced. And how I got introduced to brotherhood is because my ex-wife, she took a PPO against me, and the judge made it mandatory for me to attend counseling under THK. So I was under counseling. I was undergoing counseling through Brother Ben, and that's where he introduced me to this group called Brotherhood. And he told me that I'm not the only one. There are people like me out there who is suffering and who has been into all this, getting into all these kind of family domestic issues. So I decided to try it out. At first, my initial thought was like, okay, I just want to get through my mandatory counseling and get over with it. But when I joined the Brotherhood and I realized that I'm not the only one out there, there are many others who are also going through similar problems as me or even much worse. So I joined the group and I continued the sessions throughout. I've been with the Brotherhood group since the first series. I was one of the pioneer in the group.
Okay. You're saying
No
that
problem.
you were married, now you're divorced, right? And you
Yes.
went through counseling, mandatory counseling. Was the mandatory counseling after the divorce or before?
Before.
And what was that for?
My ex-wife, she took PPO against me,
Right.
and so the judge made it mandatory for me to go for counseling. And yeah, so I went through counseling, and actually it helped me a lot. It helped me a lot, and things were actually getting better between me and my ex-wife. We were living
And
together and all. Things were getting better, but slowly we drifted apart again.
so you decided to have a divorce, right?
Actually, I was trying to hold on to my family as much as I can.
I
I
see.
was trying to hold on to the relationship as much as I can, but she was the one who left the house again. She left before, and again she left. And this time I told her that if you leave, I will never take you back. But I did try again actually, but she went for the divorce and all. So I thought I just get over with it. Maybe it's time for me to let go.
Right. And why do you really wanted to stay in the marriage instead of divorce?
The main thing was because of my two daughters.
Hmm.
When she left the house before the divorce, my younger daughter was only a couple of months old. Yeah, it was less than a year old. So my main focus, my main thoughts were my daughters. During my relationship with my ex-wife, when we were living together, I was doing my own business, and also I tend to be out of the country most of the time. Most of the time, I tend to be out of the country, and all. Whenever I come back home, there's fights at home, and when the fights happen, both of us tend to be abusive verbally. From the verbal abusive, at times we reach to physical violence too.
Talking about the violence itself, you're able to control it because there's no trigger point, or is there something else that you want to share?
Okay, technically, ever since I started the Brotherhood series and all the group, we meet up and all, we talk about our problems and all. I've actually learned to control my anger a lot. There are many times, in fact, where my ex-wife and me will be fighting. She'll be shouting. I also will be shouting. She will hit me also. She'll hit me, but I just move away. I move away. One reason is mainly because of the PPO she has against me. Second reason, which played a very big part in my life, is the Brotherhood, the group. the meetings that we have, the sessions we have together. We talk about our issues and all, how we overcome it, how we control our anger. This is where I learn a lot.
Here's where I want to share a very important message with everybody. There are many forms of abuse. They may be physical, emotional, or sexual in nature. Parents can also abuse their children by either physically or emotionally neglecting them. If you are the one using violence, we urge you to seek help to overcome your aggressive and violent tendencies. If you are being abused or know of someone who is, help is available. Please call the National Anti-Violence Helpline 1-800 777 0000. Family violence is not a private matter. Everyone can play a part to stop it. All right, welcome back, Rosman. So,
Yeah,
can you
hi.
share with
Yeah.
us about the Brotherhood program? We've heard
Mhm.
from Brother Jatin that it has really helped him a lot. How has it helped you?
The thing is, in life, what I believe so, what the guilt feeling of what you have did, what I've done in the family, I think it will stay with them lah, to my children. And there was this so recently lah, whereby I thought I have three boys. They are I think 14, 12, and a 10-year old lah. I think, and then suddenly out of nothing, after watching a movie at home, and then suddenly my younger one um, started a story. He said, "Daddy, you remember you throw Mama a coins? I spilled the coins lah. Out of anger, I just throw the bag of coins at her legs lah." I think he remembered that part, Whereby I was really in shock lah. How come he can remember? Um, so the thing is, yeah, it puts you so much out of sleep lah when you think about it of what you can do better at that time to control these emotions. Uh, so what I did in the past is my mission right now is to erase lah that all those um, undesirable, what I mean, memories. How I have hurt them in front of the children, the way I talk, maybe it's verbally or maybe I try to erase that lah. So in brotherhood, we share all these joy moment, I think, and then at the end also it's a family thing lah, where we get together with families and then we have a good time. I think that's the best thing lah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Mm.
people think that only when women come together they have a lot of fun, but men can
Mm.
actually have fun when they come together, right?
Mm. Yeah, you get more ideas of what to do next, and then we share about the boys, the children, how they are doing things at the moment. The
Mm,
trend, what we have at the moment. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
So, what is
Mm.
one thing that you really impacted you? That's something that you have learned and you have put into practice, and you have actually seen yourself changing and your relationship with your wife and children improving.
Okay, what I learned is that I'm not alone, and there are people like me. They can be all comes from all walks of life. They can be a professional, a businessman, but they've been through all this violence, all this pent up anger. So what I learned so far is you step up to the bar and be like them, be professional. Yeah, be professional, and there are things that there are other ways of doing things lah. When we gather this information from all these brothers, they come from all walks of life. They can be a delivery man. As for myself, I'm a driver, and there's a businessman here. All comes into this picture that we share something that's violent in us that we need try to put it away. So we try to be more professional, be much more eloquent in saying things, say the right things, do the right things.
To wrap up this session, maybe each of you can take turns to share what is one thing that you want to say to the men who will eventually watch this episode, this conversation that we're having. What is one thing you want to say to them? Or it could be a warning, it could be an encouragement, or it could be a word of advice. What would that be? Let's begin with Jatin.
Okay, I have a message for those out there, those who have issues especially domestic issues, personal issues, whatever issues you have, always seek help. You are not alone, and violence is not the answer. Yeah.
Wow, short, sharp, and sweet. Okay. Yeah. When you say you're not alone, for some men they might think, wow, you mean every man is angry and violent and abusive? Of course, the answer is no, right? But I think, coming from my personal experience, we all have the potential, we all have the capacity to be very aggressive and very, maybe even very violent. So I think, it's always good for us to learn, you know, about this, to be aware of this, and maybe learn how we can prevent it from getting out of hand. All right. How about you, Rosman? What is one
Uh,
thing you would like to say to the men out there who are
yes,
listening
I
to this
agree with
episode?
you. I agree with you. We are men, and then we are the head of the house, and we tend to be, maybe we have the potential to be very very hurtful. What I mean is, for all the men out there, if there's violence in you, I want you to realize that what we are doing is wrong. Yeah, what we are doing is wrong, and we are blessed with a brain that we can analyze that. We know that what we are doing is wrong, and um, it might if, in terms of like me, as for myself, I break things, and then eventually it might get physical as well. So so before things get out of hand, remember always lah, for all the men that out there, we need help. You must admit to yourself that we need help, because maybe in the past we experienced maybe forms of people hurt us, and then we try to get back to it, and then some way or another it becomes that we become the not the victim anymore, but we are the aggressor. So before things get out of hand, remember always we need help, and there are people that can really help us and listen to us lah.
Yeah, I think I hear both of you saying that how the past affects us. And I think this whole series of transform, we realize that changing is not easy. What more, transformation is not easy. Because when you say we are trying to transform, we're trying to be not only changed, but very different from what we are in the past, right? So I think you cannot but agree with that, right? Even today, I think all of us are still trying to cope with, I mean, what you're saying about, very difficult to forget and so forth. So maybe I want to share something before we end, in trying to go through this process of transformation, right? And it's different from being in the trying to change, because when trying to change, we just still talking about the past, right? And we still go to that past sometimes. But when we transform, it is future that we are focused on. We are very much focused in the future. Our actions are driven by the future. Okay, there's no way we can forget the past. There's no way. I think sometimes the past also help us to avoid things that we have done before, and that give us the motivation not to do it again, because we know the effects of the consequences of what we did wrong in the past. So one way to overcome that is to be clear of what is the better version of us in the future. I mean, tell ourselves that, and always see that we are this person in the future. All right, and be reminded of it always, because we are what we think. All right, if we always think about the past, we will be again that person in the past. So, what is your vision of the future? What do you want to accomplish? Today and for the future, and for Jatin, for example, for your children, not only just for yourself, but for your children, because it seems for Jatin, you're really motivated in wanting to your children to benefit only from you, but not become like you, because we also mentioned that we are also the product of violence being done to us in the past, and not let that vicious cycle happen again. And it has to be different for our children, and not our children having that same story again over and over again. And when will it end? So we have to be the one that put the stop to it. And we are also a creature of the present. As much as we want to talk about the future, we are also affected by the present. So and sometimes challenges come in, and we so-called sometimes trigger to go back to that past again. So be reminded that things may happen again, today, tomorrow, but have a different way of dealing with it. We do not react, but we respond to the event. Okay, and the event is not us. What we are is how we respond. Try to separate the event from who we are. And I think transformation is where you are really have changed as a person. The environment may not have changed. Your ex-wife may not change. Other people that around you may not have changed, but you have changed. I think that will make a difference from with you, and I think that's what transformation means. Yeah.
Wow, thank you for that, Hafiz. Indeed, yeah. So we want to thank Jatin and Rosman for being brave and willing to share your story on this podcast. And we wish you all the best. And just to also let you know that I do have a support group for divorced fathers. So Jatin, you can contact me if you want to join that. And I'm also willing and able to help in terms of helping couples who are divorcing. And if they have children, how they can come up with a co-parenting plan that will be beneficial for the children especially, because we need to have the best interests of children in our hearts and in our minds. So with that, we want to again thank you and say goodbye.